Your supervisor has told you that your dissertation topic is just too broad and you need to narrow it down. How do you do that? Well, you make sure that it's got these three things: a who, a what, and a where. Social science dissertation topics need to have these three elements in them. The who, a group of people who have at least one thing in common. The what, an issue these people are experiencing or an interest that they have. And the where, which is the context. So this is a place or a space, virtual or real, in which your people are having their issue or experiencing their interest. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Yardley, and I've been supporting social science dissertation students for the last 20 years. And this is one of the most common things that I say to people in the beginning. Your topic is too broad, you need to narrow it down. And this is all part of the process. We all start off with big, wide, open topics that aren't really going to be realistic to continue with. We need to narrow them down. And there is a logical way in which you can go about doing this, using those three elements that I've taught you about. And I just want to say why it's important to do this. Why should we narrow it down? Can't we just kind of start off on the path and then narrow it down later? I'd say no, because you're going to run into difficulty quite quickly if you go into your dissertation with a really broad topic and you're going to get stuck. So it's really important to spend the time in the beginning narrowing it down. So say you had like a really broad topic of women in business, and you went off to do your literature review, to start searching the literature with just that in mind, women in business. So you probably start off and you'd find some general literature about women's experiences of the business world and all of that kind of stuff. But then you'd get quite stuck because it'd be like, well, what do I do with this literature? You'd go to start actually writing up your literature review and structuring it. And you'd be like, what do I do now? You know? So you're going to run into problems really soon if you don't have a specific title. So I'm going to stop rambling and I'm going to start talking about those three elements. First up, the who. Now, if you are studying a social science discipline like sociology, psychology, criminology, even things like business and law and geography, you need to have people in your dissertation title or your dissertation topic. And those people need to have at least one thing in common. Now, this could be a whole range of different things. It could be socio-demographic characteristics like age, like gender, like race or ethnicity, like disability status. It could be other things like a profession or a level of qualification. It might be the particular generation that someone belongs to, so Generation X, Millennials, Gen Z. It could be a particular phase in somebody's life, somebody who is young, somebody who is middle-aged, somebody who is elderly. So you need a group of people who have at least one thing in common. So I have put up on the screen here some examples of the particular socio-demographic characteristics and those other criteria that you might want to take a look at in terms of thinking about what your people might have in common. Secondly, you need a what, an issue or an interest. An issue that people are experiencing or an interest that they have. Issues can be problems or challenges that people are dealing with in their lives, so things like inequality, discrimination, injustice, that kind of thing. Interests can include things that people want or desire, like social change, and they can also include things like hobbies and pastimes. And again, here are some examples of things that could be issues or interests in a social science dissertation title. Thirdly, the where, the context, the place or space, virtual or real, in which your people are experiencing that issue or having their interest. Now, there are some obvious choices here, like physical places and spaces, towns, cities, regions, countries, but it also includes online spaces, so a social networking site, an online forum, something like that. In addition, you also want to think about places like schools and hospitals and prisons, places that are part and parcel of wider social institutions like education, healthcare and criminal justice. It might also be a time period or a phase. And I've got here some examples of the wheres, the context, so take a look at them and have a think. When you've got all of your three elements, it's time to put them together. And I've included some prompts here which are hopefully going to be helpful to you in terms of turning those 3 individual components into an actual dissertation title or an actual dissertation question. So have some fun with it, experiment, play around with different combinations, different who's, what's and where's, until you get one that you're happy with. And you might come up with a shortlist and then maybe spend some time thinking about which one you want to choose. So if you can't make a decision straight away, don't worry about that, that's absolutely fine. But come up with a shortlist of 2 or 3 and really have a think about which one you feel most passionate about, which one you feel most interested in. You might then want to narrow it down even further, and you can do this by asking which before each of your elements. So say your people are female entrepreneurs. Ask yourself which female entrepreneurs. Maybe you want to look at female entrepreneurs with online businesses selling digital products rather than female entrepreneurs who have brick and mortar businesses selling physical products. If the issue that you're looking at is problems with self-esteem, which problems with self-esteem? Body image, imposter syndrome, something else? If your context is social media platforms, which social media platforms? Are you going to look at just one or multiple social media platforms, and which ones are you going to include? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok? Get really specific. So keep experimenting, keep refining, keep narrowing it down until you end up with a topic or a title that you are happy with. And when you have this topic or this title that's got those 3 elements in it, you are setting yourself up for a really doable, really realistic dissertation, one that you're not going to run into problems with really quickly. So when you go to start your literature review, you are going to be really clear in terms of what you are looking for literature about, in terms of what questions you want that literature to answer. So it's a really fantastic start when you have these 3 elements in place and you feel really fired up about it. And I will be back in the next video with more tips on how to supercharge your studies. I will see you then.